Welcome to Wonderful Stories, a place where imagination comes alive. So let's begin.
Part 1. The Man Who Fell from the Sky. The storm that night was violent enough to shake the countryside awake. Rain fell in silver sheets over the narrow mountain road that only locals used. Thunder cracked so close it felt like the sky was splitting open. In the distance, headlights cut through the downpour, too fast, too reckless for weather like this. Then, a sharp turn, a skid, metal screaming against gravel, and silence. The car didn't explode. It didn't burst into flames like in dramatic movies. It simply disappeared over the edge of the hillside and vanished into darkness. By morning, the storm was gone. The countryside returned to its usual softness, mist curling above green fields, roosters crowing lazily, the scent of damp earth rising with the sun. That was when CEO Haneul found him. Haneul had been on his usual early walk to collect wild herbs near the base of the hill. He liked mornings. They were honest. No tourists. No noise. Just wind and sky. He noticed broken branches first. Then tire tracks gouged into mud. His heart dropped. He scrambled down the slope, boots slipping on wet soil, until he saw it, an expensive black car crushed between trees like a discarded toy. The driver's door was half torn off, and a man lay a few feet away in the grass. Unconscious, pale, blood trailing from his temple. He didn't belong here. That was Haneul's first thought. Even unconscious, the stranger looked out of place. His suit, though torn, was clearly tailored. His shoes alone probably cost more than Haneul made in 3 months running his small countryside diner. His hands were clean, soft, no calluses. City, power, money, trouble. Haneul hesitated. He should call the police. An ambulance. Report it immediately. But there was no cell signal this deep into the hillside, and the nearest town hospital was over 40 minutes away. The man's breathing was shallow. Haneul swallowed hard. "Hey," he said, kneeling beside him. "Can you hear me?" No response. Thunder rumbled faintly in the distance again. He made a decision. The diner was small. Morning Dew Diner was written in faded paint above the door. It had 6 wooden tables, a counter with mismatched stools, and windows that looked out over rice fields stretching endlessly toward the horizon. Behind it was Haneul's small living space, 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, a kitchen that smelled permanently of broth and garlic. That was where the stranger woke up. He blinked slowly, as if surfacing from deep water. The ceiling above him was wooden. Not hospital white, not luxurious. A soft breeze carried in the smell of simmering soup. He tried to sit up. Pain exploded at the back of his head. A quiet groan escaped him. The door slid open. Haneul stepped inside, holding a bowl of porridge. "Don't move too much," he said gently. "You hit your head pretty badly." The stranger stared at him. Dark eyes, sharp, but unfocused. "Where?" His voice was hoarse. "Where am I?" "You're in Wayang village. My place." Haneul set the bowl down. "Your car went off the hill." The man frowned. "My car?" "Yes." Silence. He searched his own thoughts. Nothing came. No flashing memories. No name. No reason for why his chest felt tight. "Who am I?" The question was quiet, but it landed like a stone dropped in water. Haneul's expression shifted. "You don't remember." The man shook his head slowly. There was no panic in his face. Just emptiness. "I don't know my name," he said. "The doctor from the neighboring village came that afternoon. Minor concussion. Shock. Memory loss likely temporary. Could return in days, the doctor said. Could take weeks. Sometimes trauma blocks recent memories. Sometimes more." Haneul listened carefully. "Should we contact someone? Family?" The stranger sat quietly at the small kitchen table, fingers loosely wrapped around a cup of tea like it didn't belong to him. "Do you remember anything?" the doctor asked. The man looked down at his hands. They felt foreign, strong, controlled, like they were used to giving orders. "Number." The doctor sighed. "We'll report the accident to the police in town. Someone will likely come looking." But 2 days passed. No one came. No missing person report reached the small countryside station. No search teams. Nothing. It was as if the man had fallen from the sky and the world had simply forgotten him. "Until your memory comes back," Haneul said on the 3rd night, "you can stay here." The man looked up from where he was sitting on the diner steps, watching the sunset bleed orange into the fields. "Why?" he asked. It wasn't suspicion. It was genuine confusion. Haneul shrugged lightly. "Because you don't have anywhere else to go." The man considered that. The countryside was quiet in a way that felt unreal. Crickets chirped. Fireflies blinked lazily in the darkening air. In his chest, something restless stirred. This wasn't his life. He knew that much. But for some reason, It didn't feel wrong to stay. What should I call you? Haneul asked suddenly. The man blinked. Call him. He didn't have a name. Haneul thought for a moment. You don't look like a mister, he said softly. And I can't keep calling you, hey. The man almost smiled. Almost. After a pause, Haneul said, how about, Min? Min. It means clever, sharp. Haneul's eyes flicked to him briefly. You look like someone who's used to thinking 10 steps ahead. Min. The name felt strange, but not unpleasant. All right, he said. Haneul smiled faintly. Okay then, minimum. Welcome to Morning Dew Diner. And under a sky heavy with stars, the most powerful business tycoon in the country. A man feared in boardrooms. A man whose name moved markets. A man the media called the Ice Emperor of Finance. Sat barefoot on wooden steps in borrowed clothes. And did not remember who he was. Far away, in the heart of Seoul, an entire corporate headquarters buzzed in chaos. Still no trace of him. No, sir. The chairman's car was found registered leaving the city 2 nights ago. GPS signal cut near Wayang region. The boardroom was suffocating. At the head of the table, a man slammed his fist down. Find Kang Jihan, he ordered coldly. Before someone else does. Back in the countryside, Min lay awake in the small guest room. The window was open. Wind brushed gently against white curtains. He stared at the ceiling. He didn't know his past. But something deep in his chest felt heavy. As if somewhere far away, an empire was waiting, and it would not wait kindly. Part 2, The Stranger Who Learned to Cook. Morning in Wayang village did not start with alarms. It started with sunlight, soft, gold, and warm, slipping through thin curtains and landing directly on Min's face. He stirred, not because of urgency, because of birds, real birds, loud, determined. Right outside the window, he frowned slightly, then blinked his eyes open. For a few seconds, confusion floated in his mind like fog. Wooden ceiling, thin mattress, the smell of broth. Then it came back, not his memory, but his reality. He didn't know who he was. Min, he murmured quietly, testing the name Haneul gave him. It still felt like borrowed clothing. But it was all he had. The diner was already alive when he stepped out. Pots clinked, oil crackled, a radio played old trot music in the background. Haneul moved quickly behind the counter, tying his apron with one hand while flipping eggs with the other. He looked up. Oh, you're awake. Min nodded. What time is it? 6:30. Min stared at him. In the morning. Haneul gave him a look. Yes, city boy. People eat breakfast. Min glanced around. 2 elderly farmers sat by the window, already eating soup. One of them gave Min a curious look. He lowered his gaze. Something about being observed made his shoulders tense instinctively. Like attention used to mean something dangerous. Haneul noticed. Don't worry, he said casually. News travels slow here. I just told them you're a relative helping out. Min blinked. Relative? You don't look like a delivery guy. Min almost smiled. Almost. Helping at the diner was humiliating. Not because it was hard. Because it was basic. Just wash those, Haneul said, pointing at a tub of vegetables. Min rolled up sleeves that still felt too clean to belong to someone like this. He placed his hands into cold water. He paused. Do I just scrub them? Haneul stared at him. Yes, they're not antiques. Min did as told, but his movements were careful. Precise. Almost surgical. Haneul watched from the stove. You've never cooked before. It wasn't a question. Min shook his head. I don't think so. You don't remember? No, he didn't just forget recipes. He forgot whether he had ever held a knife casually, or only to cut steak in expensive restaurants. Still, he kept working. Because doing nothing felt worse. By noon, the diner was busy. Min carried dishes to tables. His posture was straight, too straight. Relax, Haneul muttered as he passed. You look like you're attending a royal banquet. Min frowned slightly. This is how I stand. Yeah, that's the problem. But something strange happened that afternoon. A delivery supplier arrived late. Very late, and short on ingredients. I told you I needed 5 crates, Haneul said, frustration clear. This isn't enough for the weekend. The supplier shrugged. Prices went up. Take it or leave it. Haneul clenched his jaw. Min, who had been quietly stacking bowls nearby, looked up. Something shifted behind his eyes. Sharpness, focus, control. He stepped forward. Your contract states fixed supply at pre-agreed seasonal rates, Min said calmly. Price fluctuations don't apply until next quarter. The supplier blinked. What? You're breaching agreement. If he reports you, you'll lose distribution rights in 3 neighboring villages. The man stared at him. Who are you? Min opened his mouth. Silence. He didn't know, but his voice had changed. Cold, assured, used to being obeyed. Haneul stared too. The supplier coughed awkwardly. Fine. I'll bring the rest tomorrow. He left quickly. The diner went quiet. Min looked down at his hands. Did I say something wrong? Haneul blinked. No, he said slowly. You were kind of scary. Min frowned. Sorry. Haneul laughed softly. It's fine. That was actually hot. Min looked confused. Haneul turned away quickly. Go wash the radishes. That night, they ate dinner outside on plastic stools behind the diner. Simple food. Steamed rice, grilled fish, kimchi. Fireflies blinked again in the fields. Min watched Haneul laugh at something on his phone. There was something warm about him. Not loud, not flashy, just steady. Have we met before? Min asked suddenly. Haneul froze for a fraction of a second. Why, I don't know, Min said. When I look at you, my chest feels strange. Haneul looked at him under the porch light. There was no recognition in Min's eyes. Only quiet sincerity. You probably just have heartburn, Haneul said lightly. But his fingers tightened around his chopsticks. Later that night, Min couldn't sleep again. Not because of discomfort, because of a dream. A long glass table, city skyline, cold voices, and himself, at the head of it all. Alone, he woke up with his heart racing. The countryside was silent, except for the faint sound of dishes clinking. He stepped out. Haneul was in the kitchen, back turned, washing dishes even though everything was already clean. You can't sleep either? Min asked. Haneul didn't turn. Just thinking. About what? A pause. That you don't belong here. Min's chest tightened. Do you want me to leave? Haneul finally looked at him. Eyes softer than usual. No, he said. Too quickly. Just wondering how long I get to keep you. Min didn't understand why that sounded sad. But it did. Far away in Seoul, a photograph appeared on a desk. Grainy security footage. A man walking into a countryside pharmacy. Bandage on his head. Alive. The assistant looked at the chairman's brother. It's him. The man's eyes turned cold. Prepare the car. Back in Wayang, Min stood in the quiet kitchen. He didn't know who he was. But somewhere beyond the mountains, someone did, and they were coming. Part 3, The Past Begins to Search. Wayang village had exactly 3 kinds of visitors. Delivery trucks, lost hikers, and once a year, tourists who took photos of rice fields like they'd discovered nature. Black luxury sedans, never. So when one rolled slowly down the narrow dirt road that afternoon, every grandmother within a 5-house radius noticed. Haneul noticed too. He was outside shaking a tablecloth when he heard the engine, low, expensive, out of place. His hands stopped midair. Min was inside, arguing quietly with a rice cooker that had decided to rebel. Why does it beep like that? He asked for the 5th time. It's done, Haneul called back, not taking his eyes off the road. The car stopped in front of Morning Dew Diner. Dust settled slowly around polished tires. The back door opened. A man stepped out in a charcoal suit, hair slicked back, expression sharp enough to cut glass. He didn't look around like someone unfamiliar with the countryside. He looked around like someone assessing territory. Then his eyes landed on Min through the window. And froze. Inside, Min felt it before he understood it. A shift, like air pressure changing before a storm. He turned. Their eyes met through glass. Something inside his chest dropped. Not memory. Instinct. Danger. The bell above the diner door chimed. Haneul stepped in front of Min without thinking. Welcome, he said, voice polite but firm. The suited man's gaze flicked to him briefly. Where did you find him? He asked. No greeting. No smile. Min blinked. Do you know me? He asked. The man's controlled expression cracked, just slightly. You don't remember, he murmured. It wasn't a question. Haneul's stomach twisted. Who are you? He asked. The man straightened. I'm Kang Seojun, he said. Vice chairman of JK Holdings. The name meant nothing to Haneul. But it made Min's pulse pound in his ears. And that man, Seojun continued, eyes locked on Min, as Kang Jihan. Silence filled the diner. That's not my name, Min said automatically. Seojun's jaw tightened. It is. You're the CEO of JK Holdings. One of the largest financial groups in the country. Haneul laughed softly. Okay, and I'm the president. Seojun didn't look at him. He pulled out his phone. Turned the screen. A news article. A photograph. A man in a tailored suit, expression cold, eyes sharp, standing in front of a skyscraper. Min. Exactly Min. Just. Harder. Untouchable. Haneul felt the air leave his lungs. Min stared at the screen. His face. But not him. That man looked like he belonged to glass buildings and decisions that ruined lives. Not rice fields. I don't remember this, Min said quietly. Seojun studied him. You really don't. They sat at the corner table. Haneul brought tea no one drank. You've been missing for 5 days, Seojun said. Your car was found. We assumed the worst. We, Min asked. The company. The board. Investors. A pause. Your fiancé. Haneul's fingers slipped on a cup. Fiancé. Min looked like he'd been hit. I'm engaged. Yes. The word landed heavy. Strange. Wrong. Her family is influential, Seojun continued. Your marriage is tied to a merger. Min's chest felt tight again. Like invisible chains pulling somewhere far away. I don't want to go, he said suddenly. Both men looked at him. Seojun's eyes darkened. This isn't about want. Haneul spoke before he could stop himself. He's not a contract. He's a person. Seojun finally looked at him properly. And who are you? Just someone who found him. Seojun stood. Pack your things, Jihan. A medical team is waiting. Min didn't move. I don't know that world, he said. Here, I can breathe. Seojun's voice turned cold. You built that world. Then maybe I built the wrong one. Silence. Heavy. Dangerous. Seojun's phone rang. He answered, turning away. Yes, she knows. No, he hasn't regained memory. Yes, she's on her way. Haneul's stomach dropped. Seojun ended the call. Your fiancée insisted on coming herself. Min felt something twist uncomfortably in his chest. Not longing. Pressure. Like a life already decided. He looked at Haneul. For the first time, fear showed clearly in his eyes. I don't want to leave, he said again, softer. Haneul's heart cracked quietly. Because he knew. People like Min, Jihan, didn't stay in places like this. They passed through. Like storms. Like fate. Outside, another car approached. White. Elegant. The engine cut. A woman stepped out. Beautiful. Immaculate. Dressed like the city itself. She removed her sunglasses. Her eyes were already on Min. Jihan, she breathed. Min felt it. Not love. Expectation. Ownership. And behind him, Haneul stood very still. Because the empire had found its king. And it had come to take him back. Part 4. The woman who owns his future. She walked into Morning Dew Diner like the countryside air had personally offended her. Not because she was rude. But because she belonged to glass towers and marble floors, not wooden chairs that creaked and floors that remembered every step taken on them. Her heels made a soft, precise sound as she entered. Click, click, click. Every person in the diner felt it. Min felt it most of all. She stopped in front of him. Up close, she was breathtaking. Perfectly styled hair, elegant makeup, eyes sharp with intelligence and control. But those eyes were trembling. Jihan, she said again, softer this time. Min didn't know why the name made his chest tighten. I'm sorry, he replied gently. I don't remember you. That hurt her more than if he'd shouted. Her composure cracked just a little. I'm Yura, she said. Your fiancé. The word hung in the air. Haneul stood behind the counter, hands resting flat on the wood so no one could see them shaking. Yura turned to Seojun. Is this confirmed? Full memory loss. Yes, he replied. Doctor reports trauma-induced amnesia. She nodded slowly, then looked back at Min, studying him like a puzzle piece placed wrong. You're different, she murmured. Min didn't know what that meant. Different how? You're looking at me, she said quietly. Before, you looked through people. Silence followed that. Haneul felt something twist in his chest. He didn't know if that made him relieved, or afraid. They sat together at the largest table in the diner. It still wasn't large enough for the weight of the conversation. Yura placed her phone down, screen lighting up with photos. Events, galas, business dinners. Min, Jihan, beside her in every one. Cold, perfect, untouchable. We grew up in the same circles, she said. Our families arranged the engagement 2 years ago. Did I agree? Min asked. She paused. You didn't object. That wasn't the same thing. Min felt it. Even without memory, he felt it. A life built on expectation. Obligation. Strategy. Not choice. Haneul stepped forward with water glasses no one asked for. Yura looked up at him properly for the first time. And understood instantly. Not who he was, but what he was. Ah, that kind of problem. You've been taking care of him? She asked. Her tone was polite. Too polite. Yes, Haneul replied. Thank you, she said with a small smile. We'll compensate you. Min's head lifted. Compensate? For your time, medical care, accommodation. Haneul shook his head immediately. I didn't help him for money. Yura's gaze sharpened slightly. People usually help for a reason. I did, Haneul said. She waited. Because he was alone. That answer lingered. Yura looked at Min. He was watching Haneul like the answer mattered more than anything she'd shown him. Her fingers curled slightly in her lap. Jihan, she said gently, the company is unstable right now. Your absence is affecting markets. I don't remember the company. But it's yours. Thousands of employees. Their livelihoods depend on you. Responsibility. The word pressed against him like weight. But when he thought of skyscrapers, his chest felt tight. When he thought of the diner, it felt warm. I don't feel like that person, he said honestly. Yura's voice softened. You don't have to feel like him. You are him. Min shook his head slowly. No, he said. I'm Min. The name hit the table like a quiet declaration. Haneul looked down. Yura noticed. He gave you that name? She asked. Min nodded. She studied Haneul again. Longer this time. Assessing threat level. Outside, villagers were pretending not to stare through windows. Inside, the air felt like glass. Seojun stood. We're leaving tomorrow morning. Min's heart dropped. So soon? You have a hospital team waiting. Neurologists. Specialists. Haneul didn't speak. Because he knew they were right. And he hated that they were right. That evening, the sky burned orange again. Min sat on the diner steps. Haneul joined him, handing over a soda bottle. You should go, Haneul said quietly. Min looked at him. Do you want me to? Haneul didn't answer right away. If you stay, he said, your world will come here. And it won't be gentle. Min watched the fields. I don't want that world. But it wants you. That was the problem. After a while, Min spoke. When I'm with you, he said slowly, the noise in my head gets quieter. Haneul's breath caught. That's probably the concussion. Maybe, Min said, but he didn't look convinced. From inside, Yura watched through the window. The way Min leaned slightly toward Haneul. The way his shoulders relaxed. She understood then. Memory loss hadn't erased him. It had freed him, and for the first time since their engagement. Kang Jihan was choosing something. Someone. That wasn't her. Her reflection in the glass looked unfamiliar. Because for the first time, she was the outsider. That night, Min lay awake. Between two lives. One built on power. One built on peace. And in the quiet countryside darkness, he realized something terrifying. He didn't want his memory back. Because if he remembered, he might stop being this version of himself. And he wasn't sure Haneul would survive the man he used to be. Part 5, the choice he doesn't remember making. The village woke up heavier the next morning. No one said it, but everyone felt it. Like the sky itself knew someone didn't belong to them, and was about to be taken back. Min stood in the kitchen doorway, watching Haneul knead dough. Flour dusted his hands, his apron, the tip of his nose. He looked half asleep, hair messy, movements automatic from years of repetition. Simple, warm, real. Min memorized it like he was studying for an exam he didn't want to take. You're staring, Haneul said without looking up. Sorry. Don't apologize for that, Haneul replied lightly. It's better than when you stare at the wall like a haunted CEO. Min huffed a soft laugh. Then it faded. They're leaving today, he said. Haneul's hands paused in the dough for half a second. I know. Silence stretched between them, thick as morning fog. Yura and Seojun were already outside, speaking on the phone with hospital staff. Everything moved efficiently, professionally, a life of schedules and control. Min felt like he was watching someone else's departure. Not his. Before you go, Haneul said quietly, eat. Min sat at the counter. Haneul placed a bowl of seaweed soup in front of him. For good luck, he said. Min looked down at it. His throat felt tight. Will I remember this place? Haneul smiled. Even if you don't, your body will. Min looked confused. You'll miss the quiet. You'll crave real food. You'll get tired of pretending. That hit deeper than it should. A horn sounded outside. Once. Short. Final. Yura stepped in. It's time. She spoke gently, but the word carried weight. Min stood slowly. His legs felt heavier than they should. He looked at Haneul. Haneul didn't move. Didn't reach out. Because if he did, he might not let go. Thank you, Min said. The words felt small compared to everything he couldn't say. Haneul nodded. Try not to forget to eat, he replied. Min almost smiled. Then he turned. Each step toward the door felt wrong. Like walking away from something that had already become home. Just as he reached the entrance. Pain. Sharp. Sudden. His hand flew to his head. The world tilted. Images crashed behind his eyes. A boardroom. Cold lights. A signature on paper. Yura's father shaking his hand. A voice, his voice, saying, "This merger secures everything." His breath hitched. He staggered. "Jihan." Yura rushed forward. Min clutched the doorframe. "No," he whispered. Not because it hurt. Because he remembered. Not everything, but enough. Enough to know the truth. He had chosen that life. Not been forced. Not trapped. He built it, protected it, expanded it. He was not a victim of his world. He was its architect. And suddenly, the man Haneul cared for felt like a lie. Min lifted his head slowly. His eyes had changed. Still soft, but now, aware. "I remember the merger," he said quietly. Yura exhaled in relief. Seojun straightened. "Good," he said. "That's progress." But Min's gaze shifted past them. To Haneul. Something fragile trembled in the air between them. "I was cruel," Min said softly. Haneul's chest tightened. "What? I used people like assets," he continued. "I didn't believe in things that didn't benefit me." He looked down at his hands. "These hands built an empire," he murmured. "But I don't think they ever held anything gently." Haneul didn't know what to say. Because the Min he knew held bowls carefully, opened doors, looked at fireflies like they were miracles. "Your memory returning is a good sign," Yura said, hopeful. "We can restore everything." Min shook his head slowly. "No," he said. All three of them froze. "No, I remember the life," he said. "But I don't want it." Seojun's voice hardened. "You don't get to abandon thousands of employees because you discovered vegetables." Min didn't react. His eyes stayed on Haneul. "I remember making the engagement decision," he said quietly. "It was strategic." Yura went still. "No feelings," Min added. Silence screamed. Haneul's voice came out low. "You should go." Min looked at him. "Why?" "Because now you remember," Haneul said. "And if you stay, you'll resent this place for limiting you." "I won't." "You don't know that." Haneul forced a smile. "I liked you better when you didn't know who you were." That hurt more than anger. Because it was true. Min stepped toward him. Yura watched. Something breaking quietly inside her. "When I lost my memory," Min said, "I felt free for the first time." Haneul's eyes burned. "That freedom was borrowed time. Then let me borrow a little more." Haneul shook his head. "You're not mine to keep." Min's voice dropped to a whisper. "I want to be." That was the moment everything changed. Because it wasn't confusion. It wasn't amnesia. It was choice. Behind them, Seojun spoke coldly. "If you don't return today, the board will replace you." Min didn't look back. Then they can try. For the first time in his life, Kang Jihan chose something that didn't increase profit. He chose a small diner. A quiet life. A man with flour on his cheek. In the Empire, it was about to declare war. Part 6. When the Empire Strikes Back. The first news van arrived at 9:12 a.m. Haneul knew the exact time because he was pouring coffee when the sound reached them, not the gentle hum of a local car, but the growl of multiple engines and tires crunching over gravel like the countryside was being invaded. Min looked up from where he was wiping tables. That small, domestic act, CEO of a financial empire, cleaning wood with a damp cloth, would have been funny if the moment wasn't about to explode. Haneul stepped outside. 3 vans, 2 black sedans, 1 satellite truck. Logos of major news networks splashed across their sides. Reporters were already getting out. Cameras lifted, microphones ready, like predators who'd smelled blood. "They found you," Haneul said quietly. Min joined him at the doorway. He didn't look surprised. Of course they did. Chairman Kang. Chairman Kang. The title rang through the fields like a gunshot. Villagers peeked from windows. Doors cracked open. The quiet of Weyang shattered in seconds. A reporter pushed forward. "Is it true you abandoned JK Holdings? Did your disappearance cause the stock crash? Are you mentally unstable after the accident? Who is the man you're living with?" That one hit different. Cameras shifted toward Haneul. He froze. Min stepped forward instantly. "Back up," he said. His voice changed. Not loud, but sharp, commanding. The crowd actually moved. Haneul felt it, that presence Yura described. The man who ruled rooms. He was back, and he was terrifying. "We will release a formal statement later," Min said calmly. "Do not trespass on private property." A reporter shouted, "Sir, are you stepping down as CEO?" Min held his gaze. "No," he said. That surprised even Haneul. Min continued, "But changes will be made." The words were careful, strategic. The old Jihan speaking, but guided by something new. Inside, Haneul shut the door, heart racing. "I'm sorry," Min said quietly. "For what?" "For bringing this to you." Haneul laughed once, breathless. "You didn't bring it. It followed you." Silence. Then softer. "Do you regret staying?" Min didn't hesitate. No. That answer landed deep. His phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. Yes. Silence as he listened. His expression didn't change, but his eyes hardened. I see, he said. Call ended. What is it? Haneul asked. The board called an emergency vote, Min replied. They're trying to suspend my authority on medical grounds. Can they do that? Yes. The Empire was striking. Fast. Clean. Ruthless. Just like he used to. Another call. This time Yura. I'm not your enemy, she said immediately. But my father is backing the board. Min closed his eyes briefly. I know. You can't fight this from a village diner. I'm not fighting, he said. I'm restructuring. A pause. You've changed. Yes. Her voice softened. I like this version of you too. That hurt in a different way. Haneul watched him after the call. You're slipping back into that world, he said quietly. Min looked at him. No, he said. I'm bringing this world into it. Haneul didn't understand. Min stepped closer. I built an empire without heart, he said. Maybe I lost my memory so I could learn what I forgot to build it with. Haneul's breath caught. You think you can change something that big? Min held his gaze. I used to move markets with one sentence. A beat. Now I finally have a reason to. Outside, cameras still waited. Inside, Haneul's small diner smelled like soup and tension. You know they'll come harder, Haneul said. I know. They'll dig into your life here. I know. They'll tear me apart too. Min's jaw tightened. I know. That was the part he hated. Because loving Haneul meant exposing him to a world that devoured softness. I can handle them, Haneul said quietly. Min looked at him. You shouldn't have to. But I want to, Haneul replied. Not dramatic. Not heroic. Just true. That night, the village wasn't quiet. Camera lights glowed in the distance like artificial stars. Min stood outside the diner, phone in hand, giving orders. Legal teams, PR control, internal audits, efficient, cold, precise. But every few minutes, his eyes drifted to the kitchen window, where Haneul was laughing with an old couple over free side dishes. Warm, human, real, two worlds, and Min stood between them. Later, when the lights finally dimmed, Min joined Haneul on the back steps. You're not scared? Min asked. Haneul thought about it. I am, he admitted. Then he looked at him. But not of you. That almost broke him. Because his entire life, people had feared him, respected him, used him, but no one had ever just stayed. In the city, stock prices trembled. Board members whispered. Allies turned cautious. Because Kang Jihan hadn't returned broken. He'd returned different, and that was more dangerous. The empire was preparing for war. But this time, its king had something to protect. And love made ruthless men unstoppable. Part 7, The Scandal They Can't Bury. The photo went viral at 2:17 a.m. Grainy, taken from a distance, slightly blurred, but unmistakable. Kang Jihan, the untouchable CEO, sitting on the wooden steps of a countryside diner. Laughing, not the polite business smile he wore in magazines. Not the cold expression from press conferences. This was different, head tilted back, eyes soft, and next to him, close enough that their shoulders touched. CEO Haneul, unknown, ordinary. The caption read, Missing CEO found living with mysterious man in rural village. Within an hour, every major portal site picked it up. By morning, the entire country knew. Haneul found out when a delivery boy walked into the diner grinning like he'd discovered treasure. You're famous. Haneul blinked. I sell noodles. The kid shoved a phone in his face. Haneul saw the photo. His stomach dropped. Min came out of the kitchen, wiping his hands. What happened? Haneul turned the screen toward him. Min went very still. No panic. Just calculation. They moved faster than I expected, he murmured. By noon, reporters doubled. By evening, they tripled. Microphones stretched over each other like a battlefield. Chairman Kang, is this a romantic relationship? Are you coming out? Is this why you rejected the merger marriage? Is the other man being financially supported by you? That one made Min step forward sharply. Do not insult him, he said. The temperature shifted, because his voice held something dangerous. Not anger, protection. Inside, Haneul leaned against the counter, breathing hard. I didn't sign up for this, he said quietly. Min walked toward him. I know, people are calling the diner. Strangers, some cheering, some, he stopped, some not. Min's jaw tightened. This is my fault. No, Haneul said immediately. It's the world's fault for being obsessed with powerful men not loving the way they expect. Min almost smiled. Even now, Haneul still found warmth. Another headline dropped. JK Holdings stock drops amid CEO relationship controversy. Seojun called. This is spiraling, he said. Investors are panicking. Over who I care about? Min asked. Over unpredictability. Min looked at Haneul through the kitchen doorway. He remembered his old philosophy. Emotions are liabilities. And here he was, choosing one. Openly. Issue a statement, Min said. Deny it, Seojun asked. Min's answer came without hesitation. No. The press conference was set up outside the diner because the media refused to leave. Cameras lined up, lights too bright. Haneul stood just inside the doorway, unseen. Watching. Min stepped forward. Perfect posture. Calm face. The CEO had fully returned. But his eyes were different now. I will answer one question, he said. Is the man inside your romantic partner? The crowd held its breath. Min didn't look back. Yes, he said. The word exploded. Gasps. Shouting. Flashes. But Min continued. My personal life does not affect my ability to lead. JK Holdings' instability comes from internal resistance to change, not from who I care about. Reporters shouted more questions. Min raised a hand. For years, I built systems without asking who they hurt, he said. That ends now. Silence fell. Because this wasn't damage control. This was revolution. Inside, Haneul's eyes burned. He didn't cry, but something inside him shook. Min walked back in. The door closed. The noise muffled. They stood face to face. You didn't have to do that, Haneul said. Yes, Min replied. I did. A pause. They'll attack you harder now. I know. Why? Min's voice softened. Because for the first time in my life, I'm not choosing what's safe. He stepped closer. I'm choosing you. The words landed quietly, but they were louder than any headline. That night, support messages flooded in. So did hate. The diner phone wouldn't stop ringing. But something else happened too. JK Holdings employees began posting online. Stories of harsh policies, long hours, cold leadership, and one sentence appeared again and again. Maybe this new version of him is what the company needed. In his old office in Seoul, a board member threw a newspaper down. He's turning public sympathy into power, he snapped. Another spoke coldly. Then we don't attack the CEO. A pause. We attack the man he loves. Back in Wayang, Haneul locked the diner doors. He didn't know yet. The scandal wasn't the storm. It was the warning. Because the empire had stopped aiming at Min. And set its sights on him. Part 8. The Price of Loving a King. The first sign wasn't dramatic. It was small, petty, cruel in a quiet way. Haneul unlocked the diner that morning and froze. A bag of rotten vegetables had been dumped at the entrance. Spilled deliberately. Sour smell. Flies already gathering. Taped to the door. Know your place. He stood there for a long moment, staring. Not scared. Just tired. Min came up behind him. Saw. Didn't speak. But something inside him turned to ice. By noon, their ingredient delivery didn't arrive. Then their gas supplier canceled the contract. Then the village's small online review page flooded with identical one-star ratings from accounts made that day. Coincidence? No. Min didn't need memory for this. He knew corporate warfare. This was pressure. Target the weak point. Haneul. Say it. Haneul said that evening while scrubbing a pot too hard. You think I can't handle this? Min stepped closer. I think you shouldn't have to. Well, I do. He turned, eyes fierce for once. I'm not glass, minimum. I've run this place alone for years. I survived floods, debt, tourists who don't pay. I can survive rich people tantrums. Min's chest tightened. I can fight them, he said quietly. Haneul held his gaze. That's what I'm afraid of. Because when Min fought, he didn't lose. That night, Min made 3 calls. Not as the soft man from the diner. But as Kang Jihan. Voice calm, surgical. Freeze all board discretionary accounts pending audit. Reopen the labor complaints review. And leak the internal memo about supplier collusion. Across the city, powerful men felt the ground shift. The king had returned to the battlefield. But this time, he had something to defend. At midnight, headlights approached the diner. Not reporters. A single motorbike. It stopped. A man got off, helmet still on, and threw something at the window. Glass cracked. Haneul flinched. Min moved before he thought. He stepped outside, cold fury radiating off him. Leave, he said. The rider hesitated. Something in Min's eyes made him speed off. Haneul grabbed Min's arm. Stop, he said. You could get hurt. Min looked at him. I've been dangerous my whole life, he said quietly. I just finally know why. The next morning, a different kind of visitor arrived. Not media, not executives, workers. 5 of them, then 10. JK Holdings employees who lived nearby. They stood awkwardly outside the diner. We saw the news, one said. You changed our overtime policy. Another bowed slightly toward Haneul. Thank you for making him human. Haneul blinked. Min looked stunned. The empire wasn't just boardrooms. It was people. People who were watching, choosing. Inside, Haneul touched Min's sleeve. You see, he said softly, you don't have to destroy everything to change it. Min exhaled slowly. All his life, power meant control. Now he was learning, power could also mean protection. But elsewhere, in a quiet office, Yura read a report. Public sentiment rising in his favor, someone said. And the diner owner, sympathy figure. She closed the folder. My father won't stop, she said quietly. Because men like him didn't lose gracefully. They crushed what they couldn't control. That night, Haneul and Min sat behind the diner again. Fields quiet, stars out. The world felt almost normal. Do you regret loving me? Haneul asked suddenly. Min didn't even pause. No, even with all this, yes, a beat. Because before you, Min said, I owned everything. His hand moved, hesitated, then gently covered Haneul's. I just didn't have anything that was mine. Haneul squeezed back. Not dramatic, not loud, just real. In the distance, thunder rolled. A storm coming. But this time, Min wasn't the man who would drive through it recklessly. He was the one who would stand still and shield what mattered, even if it meant burning the empire he built. Part 9. The man he used to be. The memory didn't return in a dramatic flash. No sudden scream, no collapse. It came quietly, like a door unlocking. Min was washing dishes when it happened. The smell of soap, warm water, evening light through the window. Ordinary. And then, a meeting room, a signature, a woman crying across a table while he refused to renegotiate her husband's debt. A young employee fired for inefficiency after asking for leave. Yura's expression the night he agreed to the engagement, not happy, just resigned. Himself, cold, precise, untouchable. He dropped the plate. It shattered. Haneul rushed in. What happened? Min didn't answer, because the truth had settled in his bones. I remember everything, he said. They sat at the back steps again. Night air cool, too quiet. Haneul waited. Min spoke first. I wasn't just distant, he said. I was cruel. Haneul didn't argue, because this wasn't self-pity. It was recognition. I built policies that made people disposable, Min continued. I believed emotions were weaknesses. That kindness was inefficient. A small, broken laugh left him. And then I lost my memory, and became someone I actually liked. Haneul's chest tightened. That person was always you, he said softly. Min shook his head. No, that was who I could have been. Silence stretched. I need to go back, Min said finally. Haneul's heart dropped. For good. No, Min said quickly. To fix what I broke. That was different, but it still hurt. I can't stay here pretending the world I made doesn't exist, Min said. People suffered because of my decisions. You're not that person anymore, Haneul said. I still did it. His voice wasn't defensive, just honest. The next morning, Min left for Seoul. Not in secrecy, not dragged away. He walked to the car himself. Haneul stood by the diner door. They didn't say dramatic words, because both of them knew this wasn't goodbye. But it wasn't easy either. Come back, Haneul said. Min nodded. I will. Then softer. Wait for me. Haneul smiled faintly. I didn't fall for the kind of man who runs away. Seoul felt different this time. Not like home, like responsibility. The boardroom fell silent when he entered. Some relieved, some afraid. He took his seat. For years, he began, this company measured success by profit alone. He met their eyes. That ends now. Policies shifted. Worker protections passed. Supplier contracts investigated. Executives tied to sabotage removed. It wasn't gentle, but it wasn't cruel either. It was fair. The empire trembled, because its king had changed its rules. Late that night, Min stood in his high-rise office. City lights below. Phone in hand. He called Haneul. You sound tired, Haneul said immediately. I am. A pause, but not empty. Haneul smiled. Good. Min looked out over the city. I remember who I was, he said. And, I'm not him anymore. Back in Weyang, Haneul closed the diner for the night. The fields were quiet again. But this time, the quiet didn't feel temporary. It felt like something waiting. Not to be broken, but to be returned to. Because love hadn't erased Min's past. It had given him the courage to face it. And choose, every day, who he wanted to be. Part 10. When the Empire came home. 3 months. That's how long it took. 3 months of restructuring meetings, internal investigations, policy reversals, shareholder confrontations, and headlines that alternated between CEO's reckless reform and JK Holdings enters new ethical era. Min barely slept, but he didn't waver, because every time exhaustion tried to drag him back into old habits, cold efficiency, emotional detachment, he remembered something simple. Fireflies over rice fields, flour on Haneul's cheek, a bowl of seaweed soup placed quietly in front of him. He wasn't reforming the company to prove something. He was reforming it so he could live with himself. The final confrontation came on a rainy afternoon. Yura's father sat across from him in the boardroom. "You're dismantling the structure that made this empire powerful," the older man said coldly. "I'm correcting the parts that made it rotten," Min replied calmly. "You're doing this because of that man." Min didn't deny it. "He reminded me I'm human." A scoff. "Human leaders get eaten." Min leaned back slightly. "Not if they're still strong." Silence. Because the truth was obvious. Profits hadn't collapsed. In fact, long-term projections were stabilizing. Employee retention was improving. Public trust was rising. The empire hadn't fallen. It had evolved. The vote passed that evening. Unanimous. Kang Jihan remained CEO. Not because of fear, but because he had proven he could lead differently. That night, he didn't go to his penthouse. He didn't attend celebratory dinners. He drove, past city lights, past highways, towards somewhere quieter. Morning Dew Diner looked exactly the same. Faded sign, wooden door, 6 tables. Haneul was arguing with the rice cooker again. Some things never changed. The bell above the door chimed. Haneul didn't look up immediately. "We're closed for another." He froze. Min stood there, not in a full suit this time. Simple black shirt, sleeves rolled, tired, but steady. "You're late," Haneul said softly. Min smiled. "I had something to finish." They stood there for a second that felt longer than 3 months. Then Haneul walked forward. No dramatic run, no tears, just certainty. "You came back. I said I would." Min stepped closer. "The board approved everything," he said quietly. "The engagement contract has been legally dissolved. Yura is free." Haneul blinked. "And you?" Min looked around the diner. At the small cracks in the walls. At the uneven floorboards. At the sunlight filtering through thin curtains. "I'm free too." They sat outside again that evening. Same steps, same fields, but everything felt different. Not fragile, not borrowed, real. "You know," Haneul said, nudging him lightly, "you don't have to choose between here and there." Min looked at him. "I don't. No. Just don't forget this place when you're there." Min reached for his hand, openly, without hesitation. "I won't," he said. A pause. "I want to invest in rural communities," Min added. "Fair supplier contracts. Small business protections." Haneul laughed softly. "You're turning my village into a corporate pilot project." "No," Min said, "I'm making sure no one can crush it the way they tried to crush you." That was love too. Not just soft words, but action. A week later, a small plaque appeared quietly inside the diner. Not flashy, just simple. "Morning Dew Diner, Community Partner, JK Holdings." Haneul rolled his eyes when he saw it. "You're impossible." Min leaned against the counter. "I'm efficient." Haneul walked closer. "You're different." Min smiled faintly. "I remember who I was," he said. "And I know who I want to be." "And that is?" Min looked at him the way he had that first night under the fireflies. Soft, certain, yours. The word wasn't ownership, it was choice. That night, they lay side by side in the small room behind the diner. Window open, wind gentle, no cameras, no boardrooms, no noise, just quiet breathing. Min stared at the wooden ceiling that had once felt unfamiliar. Now it felt like peace. "I didn't lose my memory," he murmured. Haneul shifted sleepily. "What?" "I think I lost the version of me that didn't know how to love." Haneul smiled in the dark. "Good." Outside, the field swayed gently. In the city, skyscrapers still glittered. The empire still stood, but it no longer owned its king. Because Kang Jihan had learned something no market could measure. Power built empires. Love made them worth ruling. Epilogue. The life after the headlines. The empire didn't fall, it just learned how to breathe. And so did he. "Min, I'm working." "You are standing in front of a laptop not blinking." "That is working." Haneul walked over and shut the screen. Min looked personally betrayed. "Board meeting," he protested. "You've been home for 2 days and you've had 6 urgent meetings," Haneul replied, hands on hips. "The empire survived without you for 5 days when you were missing. It can survive 30 minutes while you eat." Min opened his mouth, closed it. He had no counter-argument. Morning Dew Diner had changed, but not in the way people expected. The sign was still faded. The tables still mismatched. Haneul refused to modernize the vibe, as he called it. But behind the scenes, things were different. Local farmers now had stable contracts. Small suppliers were protected. Rural businesses across the region had support networks funded quietly through JK Holdings initiatives. Min never put his name on any of it. But everyone knew. And nobody said it out loud. Because this wasn't charity, it was repair. Min split his time now. 3 days in Seoul, 4 days in Wayang. The city no longer swallowed him whole. He left meetings on time. Delegated. Listened more than he spoke. Employees noticed. Markets adjusted. The world didn't end. Turns out, the empire didn't need a machine. It needed a person. Back at the diner, Min was still bad at certain things. Why is the rice shaped like that? He asked, staring at the pot. That's just how rice looks, Haneul replied. It looks uneven. It's not a board meeting, Min. Min frowned at the rice like it had personally offended him. Haneul leaned over, kissed his cheek quickly, then walked away. Min stood there, processing. Rice forgotten. Because that still made his brain short-circuit a little. At night, they still sat on the steps. Some habits stayed forever. You know, Haneul said once, watching fireflies blink, people still talk about you like you're some dramatic legend. Min sighed. I literally just attend meetings and get yelled at. You also publicly came out, restructured a corporate giant, and turned rural policy reform into a national model. I also burned toast this morning. Balance, Haneul said solemnly. Sometimes reporters still tried to visit. They left disappointed, because there was nothing dramatic to capture. Just Min helping an old farmer fix a broken payment app. Haneul scolding him for leaving documents near soup. Both of them arguing about whether they needed a second refrigerator. Love, it turned out, was terribly uncinematic after the war. And they both preferred it that way. One evening, months later, Min found an old photo online. The viral one, him on the diner steps, laughing without remembering who he was. He showed it to Haneul. That guy looks happy, Haneul said. Min nodded. He didn't know anything. Yeah, Haneul smiled. But he knew enough. Min looked at him quietly. I didn't forget my life, he said. I forgot how to live it. Haneul reached over, laced their fingers together. Good thing you crashed in the right village. Min laughed softly. Best bad decision I ever made. Inside the diner, the lights glowed warm. Outside, the fields stretched endlessly. In the city, the empire moved steadily. And between those two worlds, a man who once believed love was weakness now scheduled his meetings around dinner time. Because power had once defined him. But now, home did. The end. If you like the story, the life after the headlines, don't forget to like, the empire didn't hit the bell icon, it just to get notifications for more amazing stories. Min, I'm